have said, didn't think it was worthy of a yellow card, and the disciplinary committee clearly think that it was because they've given a 1-match penalty notice. But I'm kind of in the camp that I'm not sure it was that bad, the McIlaurin one. So it was a high tackle. It should have been a penalty, but I thought Dwyer was going to ground after being tackled by another player, and it was more a sort of arm bar than a swinging arm from McIlaurin, but maybe I'm seeing it wrong. It looked, it wasn't nice, and it was a high tackle, but I didn't see it. Like, if James Roby had done the exact same thing, no one would have been saying it should have been a card, is my view on that challenge. It should have been a penalty for me. But what do you guys think?
I think it was. I think it looked clumsy. Obviously, when a player comes up with blood pouring from his nose, it looks worse. There's undisputed high contact. I think it was just a penalty, personally. It was on the borderline of a card on the basis that it wasn't like a grab that kind of just caught somebody high. He was trying to be physical with him. Yeah, and the reason that McIlaurin was trying to be physical with him at the time is because Dwyer was starting to change the flow of the game when he came on. And that's part of the reason why he was trying to impose himself on his opposition number. So there's definitely some intent in it.
I suppose you can argue, then that translates to a bit of recklessness then, maybe.
For me, he's trying to impose himself on him. So it's borderline yellow card, but I would probably come down just on the side that it wasn't a card in isolation.
What about you, Sarah, on the McIlaurin-Dwyer incident?
I didn't think it was a card. I think, yes, there was blood and everything else, which probably impacted how you think of it, but I sort of feel maybe if there hadn't have been all the blood, would there have been, I don't know, I felt it was sort of an okay challenge. Not an okay challenge, but not a cardable offence. Sorry.
Yeah.
I suppose when you view it through the lens you kind of set out, Al, you can start to see the reckless idea creeping in, and that would warrant a yellow card. And it was direct to the head, but like I say, I think there was mitigation with Dwyer was falling or almost because it was in the tackle. But then should McIlaurin have adjusted because of that would be then the counter argument to that. The follow up thing then at the time I thought that's a bit off. The going to pick him up kind of thing, almost saying you play acting, was I suppose the suggestion in McIlaurin going to pick him up. But it never occurred to me that would be something that someone could get potentially an 8-game ban for.
No, but was it in Australia that there was a big case to do with it this year? Or was it where there had been a high shot and the player in question... no, it was lower down the league, wasn't it? The player sort of literally lifted him up as if to say, you're faking it, and then...
I don't remember. I've got to say, I don't.
No, I don't
remember. It's not, but you've obviously
bearing
seen it
in
before,
mind this
so
season's been, at least 10 years long.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's fine. Yeah. We'll see how that one plays out, because it's certainly an interesting one, kind of like what you said, Al, about head injuries and stuff. And
it has to be quite dangerous, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course, because what like.
And McIlaurin knew he hit him in the head.
Yeah, he did.
He must have done.
And this is the thing. It's like, I'm not putting it in the same category, but what if in the friendly with Mossy Masoe, if somebody said, "Oh, get up, you idiot."
Yeah, if he was a smaller player, then it's
that kind of thing is not for the players to decide. The players are there to do a certain job. They are not medically trained, and I think they're completely right to come down on this and say, get out of it. It's got nothing to do with you at that point.
So maybe we're saying that should have been what McIlroy was carded for, but no one's really put it that way, had they, at the time?
No. I think people see that as more of a bit of an attitude and a bit of a disrespect thing that he showed him. And I don't think anyone can ever say that Dwyer's not tough. Do you know what I mean? I think they're trying to set a bit of a precedent with it, I think.
So we move on to the other sort of big talking point after the game, disciplinary point that's rolled through to today as well. This could be the end of Joel Tompkins' his career. He's potentially retiring at the end of this season, and he chooses to go out like this. Sarah, do you think? How do you think the match officials dealt with it? And do you think they could have done much different at the time?
I missed it, I'm afraid.
Oh, okay. Well, you've saved your eyes.
Yeah, I've heard what happened, but I missed the sort of context around it and everything.
So same question to you then, Al, I suppose.
Okay. I mean, it took 3 or 4 goes for Sky to get a replay of actually what happened.
Oh, at least, yeah.
So I don't blame the officials on field for missing it, because I don't think the only person who realised was Myler straight away, obviously. But that were a wake-up call. I
just thought he was upset because his missus was on TV and he couldn't watch her because he was busy playing on TV himself.
No, he was upset about something else.
Yeah, but then it turned out something else went on.
Yeah.
Something that only his missus should really be doing.
I'm not even answering that.
I mean, it's what she was doing on the farm.
What you do to livestock is entirely up to you. What I would say is, I mean, I think it's been handled by the disciplinary in the right way. What I'm slightly disappointed by, and I think this is slightly a players' kind of union thing, is that he didn't actually make a complaint. I would have rather Myler had actually said, yeah, you know what, he did do this, and I'm not having it. Rather than saying, no, I don't want to make a complaint.
Well, that's the weird thing. That's what sits in my mind, thinking, did he actually do what we think he did? Because why wouldn't Myler report it? You know, Liam Watts reported Tommy Makinson grabbing his cock, and apparently that was accidental. There was reports in the other games, weren't there, this year, about lots of different things around the squirrel grip type notion. So what was stopping Myler from saying it happened if he was convinced it happened and it was done, on purpose?
I don't know. That's it's impossible for us to answer.
And I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying that I can't get my head around it either. Why he wouldn't say, this is what I felt.
There was clearly a motion that Tompkins did that was completely unnecessary. I'm not going to get into the fact whether he actually was successful or not. But the point is, it was brain dead.
Yeah.
It was a brain dead thing to do. And unfortunately, that's very much in his locker, as we all know.
Well, no, because everything else in his locker that's brain dead normally involves standing up for, however misguided, for his brother. This is the first time I've sort of seen him do something ludicrous without any sort of standing up for his brother involvement.
Okay.
But you're right. It does seem to fit. No one's shocked.
Yeah, no. If anyone who comes out with a charge of this nature, then you're not surprised that it was him.
No. But on the field, the refs couldn't do anything different, could they? There was no complaint made. They didn't have time to analyse the footage to see whether he just pushed him down by his arse to win the ground or whatever, or whether he did something more sinister. That's why it needs a proper review, which is what it's going to get.
Yes. I think there's clear intent when you actually look at it from the fifth the fifth angle that they found. There's clear. It was an unnecessary movement. I'll say that.
Yeah.
And it was stupid.
And it completely overshadowed my absolute favourite moment of this game, which was before the kickoff when Julian Bousquet came out of the tunnel and knocked over the match ball podium because he was too busy to talking to someone.
Yeah, I saw that happen, and when you'd do that double take of, is that actually what happened?
Yeah. I certainly didn't expect after that introduction to the match for the Catalan Dragons that they would start so strongly and basically blow the Rhinos off the park straight away. And that Tom Davies try was a great start to the match for Catalans.
Yeah. It felt like it had just come out of nowhere. Well, it did, deep in his half.
Yeah, exactly. A fantastic break from Sam Tompkins, spotting, I guess, a bit of laziness in the second minute from the markers and taking advantage of it. But great support play by Tom Davies as well to come all the way from the opposite wing to score in the far corner from where he would have started out his run. So that was a brilliant start for the Dragons, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It definitely felt like it set the tone, didn't it? In terms of, the Catalan being on top and Leeds. Yeah, Leeds looking very flat in the first half, I would say. They looked very disappointing. I think 18-6 at half-time was massively flattering to Leeds. That they were, they're a terrible completion rate in the first half. Loads of handling errors. And just, they didn't seem to be at the races in the first half for me at all.
One of the most significant moments of this game actually happened even before the Sam Tompkins break and the Tom Davies finish, and that was Ava Seyumanathanai getting his concussion, but he stayed on for like 12 minutes, which should not happen nowadays in the game. And even Barry Mack had spotted it from the commentary position, hadn't he, after 3 or 4 minutes. So it's a shame that it took so long to get him off. I hope that doesn't impact his treatment or anything like that after it, because that's not what we want to see at all. And then, to make matters worse, kind of the only other prop they had in the game, Mikolaj Aledzki got a concussion, didn't he? That was talked about where Castellano made him look small after Aledzki's looked pretty big and dominant for periods this season, and that was hugely significant, wasn't it? Because Leeds went into this with a small bench anyway. And Matt Pryor then had to play the whole game, did some good stuff, had a couple of really nice try assists in the game, but they were never going to be able to impose themselves enough in the back end of the game when the Catalans did tire because they weren't fully match fit. Catalans got their game plan right to hit the front and then got lucky as well, not just with the McIlroy and Tompkins instance, but with the Seyumanathanai and Aledzki concussions, which were completely legitimate, no foul play involved in those. It really all worked out for Catalans, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the fact that Leeds had such a small bench. It's an indication that they don't have those backup props, do they? I've certainly talked about this a couple of times this year, that they're beyond their first choice props. They're a bit weak, aren't they? And that they're relying on other players to kind of come in and Cameron and people like that to kind of come in and do a job, which they're not always capable of doing on a consistent basis.
It does look like they've got some young forwards for sort of the future that are coming along okay, but they're not gonna, like the Ben McNamara not being in Hull side, they're not going to be in this side in this match sort of thing. So people like Tom Holroyd and players like that. So I think that hurt them, because Casti and Busquet started particularly strong as well for the Dragons, and then Castellano and Moa continued that on in the first half when they came on for their first stint. So it did steamroller a lot of energy out of Leeds. One thing I thought, why didn't Leeds do this, was have Dwyer and Leeming on at the same time. So bring Dwyer on earlier, but not for Leeming, because one thing that Leeds needed to do at that stage was keep up pace around the ruck, and then hopefully try and strike on the edges with great finishers like Hanley and Briscoe. You'd think they've got try-scoring chances there if they can keep up the pace around the ruck to counter some of that physicality and aggression from the Dragons. And I didn't get why